welcome back to Power, Black and Woman, the podcast where truth is honored. Where I'm up for a lot of laughs today because I have two young men here with me who cranks me up. There they are. Okay. We're here at Bao today with these two strapping lads, and we want to bring the stories a voice to the Bao podcast. Because here at Bao, we honor stories, truth, and no conversation is too heavy to carry. Today, we're speaking to a moment that every African mother faces, but few are fully prepared for it. What happens when your baby becomes a man? Boys to men. How do we guide, love, and release our sons while facing a wonderful world? This world demands so much from them, yet offers so little to them. In return, so little softness. The world is hard. In today's episode, our topic is adulting out loud. Lessons for sons becoming men. I sit down with two young men navigating the beautiful, messy, powerful journey of becoming adults. They're already adults. So, we're going to talk about the dreams they carry, the pressure they feel, and the ways African mothers can help. Not by holding tighter, but by handing over trust, hope, and freedom. This is a conversation about growing up, letting go, and still holding love wide open. So, stay with us. This is Bawo. Speak your truth. We're listening. So, help me welcome these Silenians. You guys, I believe you're between millennial and Gen Z. Are you Zillennial?
Millennial.
Yes,
I think I'm actually Gen Z, actually. I think you're definitely millennial.
There are some that say 96 is Gen Z.
Oh,
even 97 is Gen Z.
Yeah.
So you're Zillennials. Okay. All right. So who are you? Tell us who you are, guys.
Who am I?
Yes.
My name is Favor Adediran.
Okay.
Middleborn from the Adediran family.
Okay.
Currently live in London. I'm a media coordinator in the sports studio.
Awesome.
And I'm Victor Kintola, firstborn. And I'm a biomedical scientist currently working at Hull Royal Infirmary in Hull, and a specialist in medical microbiology. Yeah.
Wow, it's my absolute honor to have my boys here with me. So today we're going to talk about adulting. What it means for you guys as young men doing what you do in this world. Now, let me ask you one question. First and foremost, when did you first feel like you were no longer boys? So life expected you to be a man.
For me, I think it's 21 years old when I finished uni.
Oh, okay.
That
Straight after uni, okay. Of the press. Okay, what about you, Victor?
I would say like entering uni as the uni phase and leaving uni when there is no parental guidance over there. You have to start making your own decisions and be disciplined, and no one tells you what to do and all that type of stuff. So
okay.
that the uni and post uni early phase.
Okay. I mean, some people get to uni at 14, 15 now. So you think you're a man at 14. But that's a new mark. Okay. Well, I guess it's very individualistic, isn't it? Because of responsibility. That's what I'm hearing. And, well, why for you when you finish uni? What was the reason at that point? You think, well, I'm a man now.
Yeah, I think I'm quite fortunate with my upbringing. I think I've been sheltered a lot of my time. If I ever need anything, I can rely on my parents, my brothers and stuff like that. And then once uni finished, that's when I realized, okay, cool, I now need to start making a mark for myself and start applying for jobs without relying on anyone else to do it for me and making connections and networking and just handling rejection time after time, which is that wakes you up to adult life for sure.
Yeah. Do you think that toughens you up as well?
It must.
100%.
It must. Yeah.
Okay, so that moves us to pressure of adulting. So, what are your biggest challenges you face stepping into adulthood, or what are the challenges you think young men like yourself are facing today, whether it's career expectation, financial struggles, emotional independence, balancing cultural identity with Western lifestyle, any of this or whatever it is that you think are challenges in today's world for young men, for young African men.
Yeah.
Oh, should we say that? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I think nowadays, I would say for me, the pressure is probably being a 21st century man. In terms of, I think growing up, our parents was just, you get a job, you provide, you look after your family. You don't really need that emotional side as much or whatever. But now I think we need a lot of that. So we have to be emotional. We have to obviously protect, provide, which we love to do. Well, I like to anyway. And
That's good.
be present. Not just for your family, but obviously when you think about relationships and obviously with work as well, try and go above and beyond in your career as well, and just
Okay.
that's what I would say for me. What about you?
What about you, Victor?
Like I said, for the modern guys, like for those, like for us that are fortunate to have responsible, God-fearing parents that we look up to, and as for guys, knowing that okay, we are independent, and they have actually set like a mantra, like a template of what it is to be like a man, and trying to live up to that.
And is that a good thing?
No, it's a good thing.
Yeah, because when you said,
I think that's good pressure.
Yeah.
That's a good pressure too.
Yeah, I'm happy you said that.
Yeah. Your dad got your dad. Is an example. It's a perfect example. So you have to live up to that as well. And but in this modern time, we know how the cost of living situation, inflation, and also, as Africans too, that mentality of the man is the provider and all that type of stuff. But trying to find the balance.
Okay.
Trying to find the balance on how to provide with the current economic situation, or it can really, really be like a mental stress for us young guys. Which are kind of brought up in a responsible household, but for the guys a lot of pressure. So that's why it's a whole lot of like Favor said, being open to talk about it, but also the other side of guys, we don't usually like talking about feelings and all that stuff.
So you guys are starting to talk about feelings. Is that what you're saying?
Fortunately, I've actually been. Fortunately, I've always
you're
talked about
catching
feelings.
feelings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talking about feelings is nothing I struggle with, but it's more about who to talk about it with, because there's certain people that are very good at dismissing it, and there's certain people that actually welcome it.
Well, come to your answer. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Why not?
That's true. Yeah, and I think that's why I'm grateful for the women in my life. So
Amen.
my aunties, my mom, my cousins. My cousins really help.
That's good. Yeah, it does seem like you've seen my notes, because the next thing is, so what are the things that African mothers, did right, raising you guys? You are badass boys in the boardroom or in the laboratory and doing well, and you got your head screwed on, which is a good thing for every mother to see in their kids, especially men, because based on what you said, the future is that someone else is going to depend on you at one point or the other. So looking back, what lessons or values did your mother pass on that are helping you now? Now I'm isolating mothers because we're talking about African mothers. So a time is coming when your fathers will be sitting around the table and all of those hard issues, we're talking together with, jovially, with laughter and stuff like that, because you men need to start talking. So let's bring it back to the mothers, the women in your life, and you've literally touched on that. So what values or lessons women in your life, or mothers specifically,
if I can bring it back to my mom, hold tight, Felicia. She's very good at patience.
She's very patient.
Because, growing up with like a house dominated by men, she's the only woman. She's very patient, especially when it comes to like my young brother and his room.
Testosterone.
Exactly. So she's very patient. Yeah, very, very patient. And also she's super nurturing as well. And I think she gives us a good perspective of how, I don't want to be stereotypical, but like how a mother is to her, not just her husband, but also to her kids as well. So she knows how to look after us and give us a good upbringing of, we can actually depend on her and not take her for granted at all. And with her doing the right roles, it makes us want to now do more for her as well. So whether we go shopping and buy her something, or just think about her and plan trips for her.
That's good. What do you buy your auntie? Int.
Mothers right now. We'll go to aunties later.
So over to you, Victor. What about you?
For me, for my mom personally, I think she knew how to, apart from talk the talk, she wasn't like hypocritical. Whatever she says, she lives by her principles. Like, so she was like a very good role model of the principles to live by, and living in a godly household. I usually think about it from time to time that really what the Bible says, that train up a child in which you should go, and when it grows old, you will not depart from it. So even like inherently, if I want to do the wrong thing, I don't feel right, because I've been taught since I was young that this is not. So it just feels out of place. And for my mom, she's just like a good example, and very strict, like biblically. Like always, everything she refers it back to the Bible. So
she's a pastor's wife, a pastor's kid. So what do you expect? So, if your parents are standing preaching, to thousands of people, 2-3 times a week, I mean, you better behave.
Is your mom like this? Whenever you ask her for an advice, she always like throws a Bible at
she just finds a way to just be pastoral about it.
So, but you like that, or you come to appreciate?
I come to appreciate it right now, because definitely these are the wisdom, the skills you learn that you even pass on to your own kids. So,
that's some serious legacy there. So, guys, are we making promise that we're not going to lose that?
No.
Oh no. Definitely no.
Because we've seen the other side of wayward kids, and definitely you don't like that. It's not profitable. It doesn't make sense.
So now you've experienced the most amazing mothers, nurturing and caring, giving you everything and the foundation that you need to be God-fearing, to be who you are today in making decisions. Are you going to be comparing the women in your life with these women? And how is that going to work out? This is the most difficult question. It's not on my notes. It just hit me like a ton of.
No, that's a very good question.
Because I don't want.
Subconsciously, I'm sorry.
I struggle about being. I don't want to be judgmental, because I'm like, who am I to judge? But if I see, like on the road, I see someone dressing. Because this is what I'm used to. This is how my mother. This was the training.
It is your reality.
So I'm like, inherently it is wrong, but at the same time, what am I to tell you?
I think I agree with you. I think for me, I definitely, I think women have to be very picky with the men that they have, because you're going to bring life into this world. So you have to be very on it and picky. I get that. So I think for that as well, because I think as men, we're devoting, the Bible says, you get ready to die for your bride, basically. So it's one of them ones where if we're going to go to that length, I think we also need to be quite precise on who we go for. And if there's a lot of good qualities our mothers inhabit, I think it only makes sense for us to look for that in our partners as well, but not to the extent where it's like, my parents' relationship was like, so ours has to be like that. I don't think it's to that level.
It's the balance.
It's a balance,
the balance.
So like,
you got your head screwed. Totally.
Maybe I'm just saying it for the camera.
Well, it's coming from your heart, because we have not rehearsed these questions. I have not rehearsed this particular question. It's not on my script at all. Now we've nailed it.
Yes, because I mean, to be practical and realistic as guys, we also are moved by what we see, and definitely we see a lot of like attractive females, even on TikTok, on Instagram, dressing up all provocatively, and they can be attractive. But sometimes when I see them, I'm like, oh, this girl looks nice. But at the same time, I now try to be objective and realistic. Like, is she like?
Is it skin deep?
I mean, I'm like, this is just physical. This is just physical. If you want to, like, even like have a conversation or look at the lifestyle of this person, at the end of the day, it doesn't.
Is
really,
it desirable?
It's not.
Yeah, absolutely. See, everyone will be attracted to what they are attracted to.
Yeah.
You know, some women are attracted to bad boys. It's just the way they're wired. If you're not macho and slapping them, well, please don't do that.
Don't do that.
even if they want you to, don't be rough. I can tell. Like, every woman doesn't want to be treated roughly.
Disrespectfully,
Yeah, in the same way, you'll be attracted to certain type of behavior in a woman. You know, it's normal because at the end of the day, you've got to know that person first.
Yeah.
Outside of the physical attraction,
100%.
you know. And I think sometimes when you could be judging the book by its cover, is what will hold you guys back from finding the right person for you, you know. So I'm not saying go out with somebody so you could change them, because don't even go there, don't try that, because if they don't change for themselves, they won't change for anyone. So, but I guess that's a discussion for another day, because that's quite loaded.
It is loaded because change always happens, right?
Yeah,
But it takes both sides. But
So I think that requires a lot of discipline from your part and guidance, you know, which you're going to have to go deeper into knowing the will of God for your life as far as marriage is concerned. You know, so right. So one question about mothers before we move on to the general adulting issue. Reason why we're here today is in what areas do you think African mothers hold too tightly, even when it's time to let go? You know, well, I mean, I've got some points here, but I'm not going to give you any clues. So I want it to come from your heart, because this is you communicating to us, African mothers. Where do you think we're holding on too tightly to our sons, our young men, even when it's time to let them go?
I'm quite fortunate. I don't know if my mom holds tight.
Because you're a homey person.
Yeah, I guess
You're very homely.
I guess
you will travel from wherever you are every week to come home.
Yeah,
your case is different.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's hard for me to say that, but if I have to think about what my friends do say, though, I think they probably would, because a lot of them grow up with their mom being the best friend, so it's hard for like another girl to step in.
Right.
So they might feel like, oh, the woman feels like she's competing with her mom.
So not cutting the aprons.
Okay. Not letting be free in that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
for me personally, I would say not letting go. I think just sometimes maybe holistically, or they haven't come to the point, or maybe they are in oblivion that they are grown-ups and can make certain decisions. So maybe, like for me, there are certain ways I would like to approach a matter, but she might see it another way
differently,
and to me, it might not rub up as a suggestion, but as
control.
As a demand. But I'm like, this is how I want to do this. So
adulting.
Let me have that independence.
I mean, again, these are the points in my notes: overprotection, control, and guidance. Or is it control or guidance? control versus guidance.
I think guidance is positive. I think control is negative.
Yes, so
Opposite.
those are two things because the line could be blurry.
Yeah, she might see it as guidance, but you might
Yes,
see it as
yeah,
control. Yeah, so.
Coming from a mother's
Yeah,
or
yeah.
a parent.
Yeah,
It might not even just be a mother, it could be father as well, any
Just
parent.
adult with experience.
Exactly, and they think, oh, that takes us to my next point, allowing your sons to fail, to figure it out and still be loved. Again, there is something we say, you don't want to learn from your own mistake. You want to learn from other people's mistakes. And I think sitting in this chair as a parent, that's probably where a parent is coming from. Well, African or not, every parent who really want their kids to do well, to live a stress-free life, to be able to provide for themselves and not be a liability. You are still 40 and you're asking your parent for breakfast money. That's not an African thing to do. I don't think it's within any culture, it's not expected, but it happens. Some people are still like that depending on their parents. So, but when you look at the upbringing of your own parents from their background, I think most of them are passing on the way they've been parented, unfortunately. So, which can be hard to cross the line between control or guidance. And I think you guys are young men now who, within your own right, some of you are parents already in your age group.
Yeah.
And you know what it's like when you tell your son to sit down and say, no, I'm not sitting like that. I'm 4 years old. What do you think? So you begin to get the gist of where the parent is coming from. So it's a lot of wisdom that parents need, especially when it gets to your age. But again, prayerfully sit your mother down and say, well, these are the reasons why I want to take this decision. And as long as it's not a matter of life and death, I know your mothers. They are going to be like, oh, okay, well, you go ahead and try it. And if they don't, well, you know what decision you want to make prayerfully because you know God for yourselves. And I think that's the biggest difference because you can pray and ask for the guidance of the Holy Spirit and say, okay, God, speak to my mother or speak to me. So I will do the right thing, So we're going to be rounding this up. You guys, I think you're going to have to come back because it's so... Is that a yes? Yes,
Yeah, I'm getting.
Because I didn't prepare for this. We just came off the playing, and then so we just played some game on the tennis court. Did we not trash?
I didn't want to bring it on camera, but
Okay, so one question for the African mothers, because as you know, this is Bao, black and woman.
Yeah.
It's all about us women. So deal with that.
You go, girl.
Okay. So what will you tell an African mother trying to raise a young, independent young man today? Maybe one practical tip each.
Have them surrounded by a man that lives a good lifestyle.
A man
that lives a good lifestyle. That is so pivotal.
Wow.
Because
say that again. Repeat it again.
I would say for any woman that is trying to raise a young man, I would say it's very important to let them be surrounded by a man that is living a good lifestyle that they would like to see them inhabit in the future. Because that foundation is so pivotal.
So why do you say that? Because that's very specific. A man that lives
I was going to say a righteous lifestyle.
Righteous life. Yeah. Wow.
But
it's your words.
Yeah.
Choose it. Because
I don't want to go too political, but everyone has their vices and good stuff, and everyone could be influenced by different things as well. You don't want your kids to be raised by the internet, and you don't want your kids to be raised by... I'm thinking about maybe single women or whatever, but you don't want them to be raised by you being angry at men either. So you want them to be raised by someone that you trust that can nurture them in the right way to treat women right, to be spiritually led, to be financially savvy, and to just give back to his mom for the hard work that she's done as well.
So basically, a perfect man. Does he exist?
Not necessarily.
No one. His name is Jesus.
Jesus boy, come on, give it to us. So now let's bring it down to practical.
Okay. I mean, Favor is spot on, and I think having like a man factor, preferably your dad, in that sense. But no one is perfect, and I mean, if a child does wrong, or even the parent does wrong and father does wrong, having that sensitivity to know that he's done wrong and also apologize to the kid and all that type of stuff, and just living by example. For me, as guys, we, like they say, the man is the head of the household. If he has that leadership, dominant presence in the house, definitely the child will be attractive to that. As for guys, definitely, and well, for the African mothers, yeah, just making sure that, like I say, your son is surrounded by
Same role models.
role models.
That's the way I was.
Same role models. The point that you guys have raised are very, very valid, and they are loaded. It's not something that we can discuss in one afternoon or even around this table. But I want to add about role models, whether male or female, for a child, whether it's a girl child or a boy child. Because some people's reality is that they're the only parent for that child at that point in time. For any reason, natural reason, or divorce, separation, domestic violence, or whatever reason, they're the only one that child is seeing. It's equally important that the woman must be a role model. So 2 years ago, I was preaching on Mother's Day, and the example of this boy just came to mind when you said what you said. So they were asking all of them, who is the father? So this boy raised his hand and said, I want to be a father like my mom when I grow up.
That can make a man cry.
It will make a woman cry. So at the end of the day, this child knows what he has seen in his mom. To say that whether he has a daddy or not, I don't know. But that's well loaded. So your last point here, it's on adulting. If you could describe adulthood in one word, what will it be? Adulthood or adulting in one word, what will it be?
Responsibilities.
Responsibilities. In plural. That's one word. But responsibilities.
Process.
It's a process. Okay. So I'm going to leave that point there, right there today, because if I ask you to say more, you're never going to catch your train or do other things. So I want to say thank you for sitting in with me today. And to our listeners, I want to say thank you. And the fact that they've heard your voices as young men, your voices have echoed that of every mother's heart, basically. And raising boys into men in the diaspora isn't easy. You got culture clash, you got everything coming at you as a woman. A man can provide, so also is a woman. And women are doing all of that as well as raising the kid. And I'm glad that you mentioned the issue of role model in the father. If the woman is doubling up as a role model as well, it's a tall order. So raising boys or raising kids generally in diaspora, especially when there is little or no help to support you. In Africa, it takes a village to, to raise a kid. But you're on your own. So for every black young man listening today, cut your mother a slack. This is not a plea for mothers. I'm totally honest with you. This is not in my script. For whatever reason, at that point, it's just hit me like a ton of brick. So, however, letting them go while still holding them in love isn't simple. Okay, so that's not the message for the young women in your lives who think you're too attached to your mother. Maybe that's for your own good to some extent, and then the mother also needs to create that line. Is it control? Is it guidance? So, if there is one thing this conversation has reminded us, it's that motherhood doesn't end when you guys grow tall. It just evolves. It's a process. Like your adulting is a process. Because your mothers are still adulting as well, even though they are parents of young adults. So it evolves, it stretches, it softens, and it strengthens. We're not just raising sons, we're raising future. We're raising foundations that will carry our cultures, our prayers, and our love across generations. To every mother listening, you did not fail because your son grew wings. You succeeded because you gave him roots. And to every son listening, know that your strength was planted by love and you will never walk alone. Thank you, Favor Victor. Thank you for sitting in with me today. God bless you. Continue to adopt. May the Lord be with you.
Amen.
So enjoy the rest of the evening.
Take care.
And until next time, keep speaking your truth. We're listening.